Good morning, good day, good evening, good afternoon, good whatever time of the day it will be when you'll be watching this. I'm very much cognizant of different time zones because we are on Zoe Live Radio, an internationally accessible and available radio station. So that is why I am cognizant and trying to accommodate everyone from different parts of the world. So this is me, Michael Sepotabani, MT Tabani for short. You are now on our very first installment of our show, which is called Corner of Hope. It's the very first show. So the question you might ask yourself is that what is it that you can expect from the show? As the name says, it's the Corner of Hope. Wherever you are in the world, when you feel like things are a little bit tight for you, you don't know where to go, you don't know how to go about your life, the Corner of Hope is a place to be. And when is that? That is every Monday, 6 p.m., you can tune into Zoe Live Radio, which is Zoe Live Radio. And then from different social media streams, we'll be streaming our content on various social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and on all other social media platforms. So wherever you are in the part of the world, welcome to the Corner of Hope. And then I believe and then pray that wherever you are in the world, you'll be able to have hope. You'll be able to get yourself, off your bootstraps and then get yourself comfortable, get yourself to places you never imagined you could possibly be. And then how am I going to help you do that? I'm going to help you do that by inviting amazing, magnificent, awesome people from different walks of life, people who have done the work around helping people, building people, who have insurmountable amount of experience in doing that. And that is how I am going to add value to you, to make sure that I bring to your ears content from people who are very experienced in helping people and in improving people, making sure that people are exceptional in everything that they do. At the end of the day, this is the Corner of Hope. So this is where you need to go when you feel like you need some hope. You don't know whether you are coming or you're going. And hopefully the Corner of Hope will be able to offer that to you. So as I was preparing for this show, as is the very first show, so they say, you never forget your first. So I thought to myself, who can I invite as a guest to my show? I could not think of any other person from any walk of life than my friend, my uncle, my grandfather. I call him like my everything. The man that I'm about to bring to your screens is David Wyllie. This gentleman, I'm calling him a gentleman because he's a gentleman. So he's an amazing human being, one of the blessings that I've ever received in my life. I met David Wyllie a couple of years ago, and then having him here on this show is one of the best gifts I could have ever thought of to bring to you. So David is not walking alone. He's not alone. He is with his lovely wife, Christine Wyllie, one of the most beautiful human beings I've ever met in my life. One of the most beautiful human beings I've ever met in my life. When you are in the presence of David and Christine, I can promise you, if you walk out of their presence being the same, definitely there's something wrong with you. Because a lot of people will tell you that after they meet Christine and David, without actually them saying anything, you walk out of there feeling more alive, feeling more enlightened. So, welcome David Wyllie and Christine Wyllie. How are you doing?
Very well.
Great, thank you. Lovely to be on your show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. So we chose your heaven, your sanctuary. I call it like David Wyllie Sanctuary. So we came to your home so that you can bless us with your wisdom, with your words, and then so that people can get to learn and know about the amazing things that they can possibly do that they were never been aware of. So as I was preparing for the show, I thought of what is it that we can talk about, because when you talk to David, there are tons of things that you can talk about. There's so many things that you can think about. But I thought to myself that the best thing to talk about is abundance and gratitude. Before I can actually start to ask more questions and everything, let's start with the basics. What do you believe gratitude is? Let me start with you, Christine. What do you think gratitude is?
You know, I come from an energy background.
Yes, definitely.
So, okay.
Definitely, yes.
And everything, every thought, every emotion, every feeling has got a frequency. And gratitude is amongst the highest frequency you can have. So if you're wanting to attract abundance, you want to be on the highest frequency you can be. So that's gratitude.
Okay, we'll go deeper into that.
Yeah.
We'll go deeper into that. I would love to have David's version. He always have interesting versions. What do you think gratitude is?
She has the feminine point of view. I have the masculine point of view.
Yeah.
It'll never be the same. And it can't be the same. All right. Gratitude to me is also, we're back to everything is just energy. All right. Because there is nothing else. Our body is not actually a body at all. If you put us under an electron microscope, you can see huge big spaces where you thought the body was. We're just energy. We're a cluster of atoms put together by an electromagnetic field. Now, our thought is the electricity part. Our emotion is the magnetic part. And as we bring these two things together, what we are conscious of starts to manifest as the reality that we believe is reality.
I get you. So, if I understand you correctly, you're saying that, yes, we have these thoughts they are electromagnetic fields, right? But you said that our emotions are the magnets. So then, in other words, whatever that we think, with our emotions, we pull it towards us.
Yeah, if you think of driving a motor car, your thought would be the steering wheel, choosing where your body is and your consciousness is going and what's going to happen in your life. Your emotion is your foot on the gas and the size of that engine.
So does that mean that whatever that I think, if it's not accompanied by an emotion that will charge it, then I will be fighting a losing battle?
Well, you're not fighting a losing battle. Drops of water put together form an ocean.
Okay.
All right. So if you've got enough drops of water that have no emotion behind them, or enough drops of thought that have no emotion behind them, eventually that will build up and build up and build up and build up. If when you were a little boy you were told, don't talk to strangers, they're evil, they're going to hurt you one day.
Yes.
You carry that picture every time you meet a stranger. You say, I mustn't talk to them. All right. And that goes on. And maybe when you're 45, something bad happens to you talking to a stranger.
That's
all right. But it was all those thousands and thousands of drops of water over your life. One day the river came down in flood and you had the consequences of the process. On the other hand, if you put emotion into it, you can make it happen almost instantaneously.
Like you say, it's a magnet. It pulls it closer.
We are magnetic people. We are. We live in a magnetic universe. So likes attracts likes. So the more you're grateful for, the more you get to be grateful for.
I see what you mean. I see what you mean. So then, in other words, if you are saying we are magnetic people, so we cannot run away from that. That is just
that's a default program.
The default program, right?
Yeah.
So now the big question is, what are you magnetizing?
Yeah. So if you're grateful, you get more to be grateful for. If you're ungrateful, you get more to be ungrateful for. It's as simple as that.
Wow. And if you look at most people's lives, they spend their life whinging about what they are ungrateful for. And people take the things that happen that are right in their life for granted. Okay, and they whinge like hell every time something goes wrong. So they're putting all their emotion into what's going wrong, and they clinically treating what is going right. And we also taught when we're young, don't ever get too excited about what you want. You might disappoint yourself. So we train ourselves to turn down all those wonderful things like excitement and enthusiasm and all those things that children had.
Yeah.
And we turn up all our fear and our anger and everything that's wrong with the world, our victim mode. All these things get tweaked up so they become very powerful.
Yeah.
So we're sitting in the wrong place. We've been taught to sit in the wrong place.
And it's actually social conditioning.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah. So, Christine, it has always been my concern all the time, right? To find out how can you think abundantly when you are surrounded by things that are suggesting that there's scarcity. How do we step out of that? How do we snatch ourselves out of that rut, so to say, of like everything is scarce and there's nothing there, and then but we say that there's an abundant way of living our lives. How can we actually snap ourselves out of that, whereas we're surrounded by
you don't just
scarcity?
snap out of it, but it can happen like that. It takes work. It takes self-realization. It takes also an understanding how the universe works. If you look around you, the universe is abundant. Nature is abundant. Everything is abundant. We are being breathed for free. You don't remember to breathe?
No, for sure.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Something.
It'll be a problem if I forget to.
Yeah. Something is breathing us. Something is beating our heart. It's free.
I see what you mean. Wow. Okay.
It's okay. We've been taught to look at life a certain way, and therefore, if you see life as lack, then everything we attract is going to be lack. You're going to attract it because we magnetize to us what our beliefs are. So it's a matter of shifting the belief, of looking, of understanding, it takes work.
I understand what you mean, because Dave, if I hear Christine correctly, saying that it depends on how we have been conditioned to think, and then as a result we start to think scarcity, and then we forget that we are living in an abundant universe, right? A lot of people who might know you now, who might come to your heaven on earth, to your sanctuary here, they'll be like, that guy's lucky, and they don't even know like a pinch of your story at all, right? So have you always been thinking this way about abundance? Like, from where you are, from being raised in obscurity and then, having tough times and everything. How did you think of all of this that you had, like everything that you've built, all the millionaires that you've created in, through your programs and then through your teachings and everything? Was it always that obvious to you that this would work?
All right, in the beginning I didn't know it worked. What I did know is that as a tiny child, I could remember a me that my parents were telling me didn't exist. I could hear trees talking to me now. I know a lot of people are going to say, he's got to be mad. Trees can't talk to people. But what if they can? Okay, my parents said, shut up, you're going to go to a funny farm. All right, so I shut up. Okay, I could tell them, don't go out now because Auntie so-and-so is coming to visit. And then an hour later, I would say, it's okay, you can go out now, she's changed her mind. And we didn't even have a telephone when I grew up. How did I know those things? I knew them. But because I was different, I was told that I must shut up and be like everybody else. Right? But there was a thing inside me that said, never give it away. You can pretend, but don't give it away. Right? So what I started to do is become everything that my parents weren't, and everything that my school teachers weren't. So by default, I just did the opposite. When I was told, my mother always used to tell me, remember your status. People like us don't have things like you're dreaming about.
Wow. Wow, your own mother.
My own mother. Because she grew up as a victim of the Second World War. She was grateful to be alive. And she was grateful to be one of God's blessed poor in her own mind. Right. I said, there's another T-shirt. I don't want your T-shirt. What am I looking forward to if I'm going to grow up to be like you are? So my rebellious nature took me to that opposite extreme.
I see what
just
you mean.
naturally.
I see what you mean.
So I discovered the process by accident. Because my parents were living in a void of scarcity, I started looking at the other thing. Then an amazing thing happened. I can still remember I was about 2 years of age. And most people can't remember that far back, but I can remember with absolute clarity. I just finished eating a apricot.
Oh.
Okay, and I had the pip in my mouth, and I was taking it out of my mouth, and my father said to me, "What are you going to do with it?" He said, "You can throw it away like everybody else in the world, or you can plant it and see what happens."
Wow.
Well, I planted it. 5 years later, it bore its first apricots. And I ate off my tree that I had planted, that had my DNA on its pip. And I started to realize that it didn't give me one apricot in exchange for one apricot. It gave me hundreds of apricots every single year. So what you see around you here is the same process.
Yeah.
When we bought this property, it was bare, what the South Africans call veld.
Yes.
Just grass, a few trees on the riverbank, and there was nothing else. And I used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go to a place like Zoo Lake or somewhere, go for a run, and while I was running, I'd pick up acorns and pick up this and pick up that, and bring it home and plant it. And now I live in a house in the forest.
Yeah.
But the house in the forest wasn't an accident. It was God's, nature's, whatever you want to call it, law of abundance working.
Yes.
And every one of us has got it.
All of us have it.
All of us have it.
Which will lead me to my second question, Dave. So everybody who's tuning in now, if you are on Facebook stream, please leave comments. If you have questions for David, just leave the questions on the comment box, and then I will get on to those questions, and then Dave will get on to those questions as well. Please do so, because this is an opportunity of a lifetime. This is someone who's been doing this thing for longer than I've been alive. For more than 4 decades, he has been doing this work. He was in the presence of, like amazing people in the world. Prime ministers were coached by him. I'm talking about he was in the presence of the likes of the great L. Nightingale, Napoleon Hills. Guys, I could not have thought of a gift for you than this. So please jot everything, all the questions down. If you have the questions for Dave, please do so. And then when we approach the end of the show, we will then ask Dave more about the events that he has, so that because he still has a lot in him to give to the world. So, and then I hope he does not stop at all. So it leads me to my second question. And guys, I have my own book here, so please take your notes. So I was just too lazy to take notes because I was just blown away by the content that David was sharing. So, but please take notes, because of this is ample information, guys. Don't forget to drop your comments and your questions on the Facebook comment boxes there. So, Dave, I hear everything that you are saying. You want to tell me that you were fearless I believe that you were dreaming or thinking of the world that you have never actually physically experienced yourself, right? Or none of your close family members experienced. That's the fear of there's an unknown world that you were trying to tap into, which I think is there is an event that is coming, if I'm not mistaken, that is done by Growth Point, by yourself and Christine, about the fear of the unknown. So I want you to give me a glimpse of what you think about the fear of the unknown. Why do we fear such beautiful things that we might create?
I don't know the answer, simply because I can't remember being scared. It sounds crazy. I can't remember being scared. Fear is two things. It can be a debilitating thing. Yes. And I've never been debilitated by fear. I get it when I'm going to do something I've never done before. I get scared in inverted commas, but it's an excitement. It's a wow. I'm going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat that I didn't know about. But I have done that since I was a child. Right? I didn't conform to what my parents wanted. I didn't conform to what school wanted. Actually, that's not quite true. I did conform quite a lot. They kept telling me I'd amount to nothing and I was stupid. So I worked my butt off to prove them right and stay bottom of the class and all that. But I had a secret life. The secret life was after school, I'd go and explore the river, or go and climb a tree that I was forbidden to climb, or do something and find out what those things were all about.
Like a rebel.
Yeah. And then I'd come home and get a hiding for the things that I did that were too dangerous for a little boy to do. But I'd do them anyway. Right. And Christine is the same kind of rebel. That's the part of us that is absolutely
Christine,
amazing.
has a rebel nature also helped you to overcome the fear of the unknown?
Yes. The fear is a real thing. It's part of life. We can't get away with it. But
What do you mean it's a real thing?
well, fear is not.
It's there.
It's there. I mean, come on. Things that are, sometimes there's dangerous thing, and sometimes there is real danger. So fear is there to warn you. Okay, there is danger there, but now the danger can paralyze you, or it can actually, you can use this adrenaline to do what needs doing. It's that simple. But fear is, nothing exists that hasn't got a purpose, and fear has got its purpose too. But
Christine, you are saying certain things that people don't say. I've never heard anyone saying that. You're saying fear has purpose.
Everything has a purpose. It serves a purpose.
Please, man, like if I had those, those horns, I'd be like, po, 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 like, because of that's a bombshell right there.
Yeah. And that's what we're going to be exploring on that
Sure,
workshop.
like workshop,
We
yes.
called it transcendence, because to transcend means to rise above. And the whole workshop is geared to give you tools and information so that you can build your wings, so you can rise above your fear. So, because fear is the normal part, but most people get paralyzed. Okay, some people are so afraid of dying that they miss out on life. They're afraid of living because of fear of death.
I see what you mean. So, Dave, like in most of the work that you've been doing, the millionaires that you created, I know some of them like personally, the people that you have helped in the past, the businesses that you helped build, everything that you have done for yourself. Was there a one thing or is a series of things that helped you to get over whatever it is that might have been a stumbling block, trying to block you from accessing your greatest capabilities and potential?
All right, if we come back to me growing up, remember I said to you earlier that I was told that I was stupid and everything, so I was always bottom of the class. I worked to prove my parents right, my school teachers right.
Yes.
And then one day I was probably in my early 20s. I said, I'm damn good at this. I wonder how good I'd be at being clever instead. And instantly something changed inside me. And I started to remember who I was as a young boy, that my social conditioning had been taken away from me as I was growing up. Right? And that made a huge difference. Okay, but remember, if you come back to fear, Christine saying fear is a gift. Okay, it is an absolute gift in that it pumps up all your adrenaline. And as soon as it pumps up your adrenaline, you change vibrational frequencies in your head. You're a little bit sharper, you're a little bit smarter.
Wow.
Because maybe you're going to be eaten by that lion or something.
Yeah.
So now you've got to start working out where you're going to go, what you're going to do. All right? Your body pumps up, you get strength that you never ever had before. Now, if you can take fear or its equivalent, the same emotion, excitement and fear are exactly the same emotion. It's just the positive or the negative end of it. Same stick.
I understand what you mean. I understand.
Okay, so if you can swing your thing from this is debilitating to wow, this is making me turn myself on. Now, what can I do with this turned on Dave instead of this dumb, restricted, silly little scared person?
Understand.
All right, then all of a sudden everything changes.
Yeah.
And that's what Christine meant when she said fear is a gift.
I understand.
Fear is a gift also, not just in that way. It's, how would you know yourself as a courageous person if there was no fear?
Wow. Okay. You're going somewhere. I like that. I love that. Yeah.
At the end of the day, every time life is about choices all the time. So when we're faced with fear, are we going to go the coward way or the courageous way?
Yes.
It's a choice.
Yes.
And it's teaching us something about us.
Yeah.
Without it, we we were not going to go to that place where
Of
we will
courage.
of courage. Yeah, exactly. Where we'll wake that warrior that is within us to.
But you know what?
face
Where
the
courage
frequency.
comes? It's the word courage. Cœur is heart
Okay.
in French,
Yes.
and courage is the rage of a heart.
Wow. Okay.
So
Never heard
if
of
you
it.
take the rage of a heart and you go and do what you need to do
To do.
despite your fear.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. So what I'm gonna do, because I think we are almost like we're about to wrap up. Before I ask you like specific questions about the upcoming events and how people can actually access you, because I think that is very important. And thank you, David, because you can decide not to do this at all. You can decide to be like, no, I've done this. I had my 4 to almost 5 decades of doing this work. I'm okay. I'll just sit and then watch, I don't know, watch cartoons all day, whatever it is that you try to do. But you still want to give and do more. And then for that, I appreciate it. I don't know why you're still doing it anyway. Because of, like I say, like a lot of people, they say, once I have 1, 2, 3, I'm going to relax and then sit down and then do fuck all, like do nothing. But you're still doing this. So what do you think will be the one thing that people can start doing? Like, if I'm this person, I'm hopeless, I don't know whether I'm coming or going. Yeah, so I don't know whether I'm coming or going. What is it that I can do? So what is that one thing that you think someone can do? Like in less than 30 seconds, if possible. Yeah, I'm trying to ask an impossible thing.
Well,
but yeah.
shut up and let me speak.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Remember on your tag course, I said improve yourself by 1%. If every day we took a little something that was outside of our comfort zone, just something that made us feel uncomfortable. We say we're not scared. I'm uncomfortable, or I don't want to do this. I rationalize all these things. But if we just make that simple move to that place, we get used to being there. Now we can make the same simple move again, 1%, 1%, 1%.
Love it.
And if every day we do something just that we're nervous about, until we've beaten the nervousness.
Just the 1%.
And we just keep moving and moving and moving. You're not going to jump from here to Cape Town in one step. No one's legs are long enough.
No, thanks for that.
All right. Now, exactly the same way. You're not going to go from being a little wimp to being a giant in one step. But if every day you change just a little bit, in a year's time, you won't recognize the person you are today.
Thank you so much, Dave, for that. Those small increments, right?
Yeah.
Christine, in closing, because I would love people to have access to you guys. How can people reach both you and Dave?
Well, the quickest way is to go to the website, but I mean, they can also WhatsApp us and this, but the website is growthpoint.org.
Okay.
Yeah, if they go to growthpoint.org and they can find all the details there. Otherwise, I'm quite happy to give them my number if they want a phone.
Okay. I know. If you are comfortable doing that, so then like that is okay.
It's 083 334 6509.
6509. Okay.
Yeah.
And mine's 082 4147 434.
Okay, I understand. Okay, perfect, Dave.
But we have on the 13th, you talk about people who have no hope. They have no hope because they lack imagination. You've been on that workshop recently.
I have been in the
Genius of Imagination.
Yeah, for sure. Like, so is it going to be more like the same as that one?
Yes, we're repeating that workshop in 2 weeks' time on Saturday, the 13th of February.
All right. Okay. Perfect. So I was actually being too cautious of time, and then I was too cautious that I missed the mark of time, in a sense that we still have time.
Okay.
So, which is a good thing. I love that we still have time, so that people can still, get a lot from you guys. So let's say I come to the workshop on the 13th. Is the one about
the genius of
imagination, because that's the one that I attended, right?
Yes. Yeah.
When we're talking about this place that lives, and then I remember David telling me that imagination is not in our head, in our physical heads, right?
It's not fantasy.
Yeah.
No, it's not
fantasy,
no.
right?
It's a tool
It's a tool that we can use to create whatever life we want to like we want to create, you know. So for someone who does not know that they have this faculty in their, I don't know if it's in our heads, in our spirits, wherever it is, right? For someone who does not know that, what would you tell them imagination is, and then how powerful is that tool?
All right, well, imagination is just the tool that enables us to envisage or visualize a world that doesn't exist. And then come back to the steering wheel and the emotion. What we imagine we are steering towards, and if we get excited enough about it, we put emotion into the process, and the more emotion, the quicker we're going to get there. So what we've got to do is we've got to train ourselves to focus on the world we want to live in, not the world we are living in. And it doesn't matter. You can be a multimillionaire already.
Yeah.
You can have an amazing life already. But you're either going to rot there now because you think you've arrived, or you can turn around and say, there's got to still be more. Now, if there's still more, we're back to abundance.
Wow.
Can I use my imagination to build on this with all the confidence that I've already got from already being successful? If I knew one more thing about me that I currently don't know, how would it affect my life? How would it affect the lives of people around me? And before you know what's happened, you're going to be flying.
Can you imagine something that you never... I'm trying to think of this question the right way. Can you imagine something that you were never exposed to?
Yes, of course you can. That's what imagination is.
Yeah.
Everything else is memory. Okay, we are taught that when we think, at school, we are thinking. We're not thinking. We're processing information we've been given. That's what computers do.
David, you got to say that again. Because of most of us are academics, we want to read big books and everything. What do you mean? What we've been told is thinking is not thinking.
All right, what we've been told is thinking is not thinking. It is processing information.
That you know.
We've been told by our teacher. We've been told by mommy and daddy. We've been told by Earl Nightingale or whoever it is, our guru. We're not thinking. All right, we're processing information we've been given. Thinking is what happens in your imagination. And the interesting thing is no neurologist anywhere on planet Earth has found the place in the human brain where the imagination lives.
Or thinking,
Or where thinking happens. Okay, it happens in a spiritual dimension somewhere, in another part of us that we haven't got time to talk about now. All right, so in a nutshell, thinking is our soul talking to us. Our imagination is our soul talking to us, saying, you're worth more than this. You can do better than this. You were never born to be poor and useless. Do you really believe that a loving God, a loving universe that creates abundance would expect you to live in poverty? That's bullshit. That's not going to happen. Okay? If you want to get real, be who the universe created you to be, and dream a big dream that doesn't exist. We were talking earlier when we were having lunch before we did this, and you were amazed that when I started teaching what I'm teaching, there was no television in South Africa. There was no cell phones. There were none of the technology at all. Okay? We just did it. And I'm dyslexic. I was saying, I've never read books. I went and I experienced. And if I have a gift, it's so simple. I have the gift of being able to understand what that experience taught me and how to duplicate it. And that's all I teach.
Exactly.
I mean, you've seen me work for days at a time without looking at one note. Never looking at a prompt, never trying to remember what I'm supposed to be teaching next or anything. Because everything's already inside me. Now, everything is inside you. Everything's inside every one of us. We've been taught to use our imagination to imagine we're going to get hijacked on the way home. All right? So we plan to set it up. We make it happen. We can marry someone who's going to cheat on us. I mean, we can carry on and on. The media is so full of teaching us how to use our imagination to imagine a bullshit worst scenario possible. Right. But
It's
that's not what
fear-driven.
children
It's
do.
fear-driven.
It
Yeah.
is fear-driven. Listen,
Yeah.
we live in an infinite universe with infinite possibilities. So your imagination can, there's no boundary if we allow it.
I see.
If you can see it in your imagination, it's the divine way of telling you that you can be its creator. Right? Everything that we take for granted, all of us, the film crew here today, everything, of all experiencing things that a few years ago were considered science fiction and totally impossible. But some idiot had a dream. And I call him an idiot affectionately,
Yes.
because the whole history of the world proved it was not possible. But someone made it possible.
I agree. And we do have some of those idiots even today.
Well, let's call
Every
them
one of us
geniuses.
is one of
Yeah,
them.
Let's call them geniuses, okay?
I know, but I'm just following David's trail. You know what I mean? I was listening one day to one of the famous people we have today, Elon Musk. When he was launching his first rocket to Mars, and the SpaceX was not doing well at the time, and then people that he looked up to, like the likes of Lance Armstrong, who went with Apollo 11 and all of those, all people that he respected, right? People who are professionals, like professors of universities and everything, whom he looked up to as people who had the knowledge of how to get to space. They said, no, what you're trying to do is not going to work. Nobody has ever done spacecraft in the way you're trying to implement it. Just pack this in and then just forget.
He was a student at Pretoria Boys High in matric when I gave the matrics at Pretoria Boys High lecture.
Come on.
Yeah.
So okay.
All right, it was an hour and there was more than 100 boys there. And it was no personal anything.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But he was there.
In the class, yeah.
In that class.
What?
Okay. And who knows, you plant a seed, it only grows when it's supposed to grow.
Yeah.
If you plant a seed at the wrong time of the year, it waits until everything's right.
So you're telling me that I can hear the right thing at the wrong time?
Yes.
And
You're
then
not
not
ready
use
for
it.
it.
But it sits there in the back of your mind, and one day something happens, a piece of music's playing, and someone says a phrase in that song, or sings a phrase in that song, and all of a sudden the penny drops. And you say, yes, I know that.
Yeah.
Of course you did. The seed was planted 5 years ago, 15 years ago. It can have been planted when you were still in your mother's womb.
Yeah. And who knows, Dave, that the day you went to Pretoria Boys High to give the presentation and teaching that you were doing, who knows that some of the words that you've uttered, they landed on that young Elon Musk that time. And then it meant something to him. It's like, wow, I can actually do more than what my surrounding is telling me. Who knows, of all the other things that contributed to his success, that one lesson is one of those big things.
And that's all you need. You need that one seed that makes you take just the tiny next step. Because that takes you to another vantage point. It's like walking to the horizon. You can't get there. You look around you and you say, this is the end of the world, what you can see. But if you've got the guts to walk to the end of the world, you find out it's not the end of the world anymore.
Wow.
Now, most people go home because they're too scared to go out there and cross that boundary. Some of us keep crossing that boundary. We walk to the end of the world, and the people who lived in the village where we came from, they say the boogeyman ate us. Okay, the monsters ate us. The dragons came and they slayed us, or whatever it was.
Yes.
All right, because we never go back. Because there's nothing to go back to. We're going forward. Think how God made you. He gave you 2 ears that face forward. The dog that just walked past can do this with his ears.
Yeah.
So he can hear behind him and everything. We can't hear what's behind us. Our eyes aren't in the side of the head. We're not like a horse. We can't look back there in front here. Everything about us is designed to reach forward, to look forward, to move forward.
Wow.
And everything that we call schooling or education is a misguided word. It's schooling. Everything that we call schooling is teaching us the history of something.
True.
instead of the future possibility of something.
Of something.
But they can't teach us the future possibilities. It's us crazy people who can think about a future. It doesn't exist. And we treat it like we're crazy because we're not the normal.
I understand. Yeah, I understand what you mean. So, Christine, because David is like blowing your mind. What I want to because you have you are like a Reiki master, like you've been doing Reiki and then teaching other practitioners on how to actually do Reiki.
She was my Reiki master. She taught me Reiki.
Right. So, what did Reiki teach you about what we can possibly do as human beings?
I think Reiki taught me that there's nothing that we cannot do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, the word Reiki...
And you really believe that?
I do,
Yeah.
The only thing limiting us is our belief and our fears and our own limitation. Our perception of life is what's limiting us.
What's the English translation of the word Reiki?
Universal life force energy.
Yes.
That's what
Universal
it is. Life force energy.
life force energy.
Yes. So, and it's there. I mean, it's in the universe. The energy is there, waiting for us to put it into matter, into whatever we want.
And why? But this is something that I can't understand. Me of not being on Earth long enough to understand it.
That's nonsense.
That
We didn't learn all this stuff on Earth.
no? So what I don't understand is that how, because Dave, you've been doing this for decades. Christine, you've been doing this thing for long as well, right?
Yeah.
How many?
2005 I started teaching. 2002 I started practicing. In 2005,
That's that's a long time ago. It's
15 years that I've been teaching.
Yeah, over a decade, right?
Yeah,
Been teaching this. So my question now is that how curriculums in schools have been changing, but we don't have this thing in a mainstream educational.
I have attempted to go to schools and approach them, and they say no. They see it as against religion and so on, and then people have got the wrong perception of Reiki because it comes from Japan, and they say, well, then it must be against Christianity or something like that. It's not a religion. The air you breathe doesn't come from any religion.
It's oxygen, it's air.
I know I had a problem with my family when I started doing Reiki. They said to me, well, when you put your hand, does that energy come from Jesus? I said, if I ask him to come, yes, but otherwise it comes from the same place the air you breathe comes. It's got no denomination, At the end of the day, we're all energy, and it doesn't really matter what our beliefs are or our who we pray to. It's a personal thing, but the energy is energy. The air you breathe is the same air I breathe.
So do you think there's a distinction between spirituality and religion, and what it is, if there is?
Okay, of course there's a
difference.
There's a difference between the two. They're absolute worlds apart. Okay, but you can take exactly the same process. All right, if you come back to Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, he said, everything I have done, you will do and greater. If you think like I think, do what I do, you will enter the kingdom. It is within you. Now, they took that same thing and they said, but, and they turned it into something else. Okay, but you are not good enough.
People took the very same great teaching that Jesus gave
and put a but
on it. Okay.
Yeah. And how many people have you given wonderful advice to, and they say, yes, but you don't know my story, or yes, but I'm the wrong sex, or I'm the wrong age, or I'm the wrong color, or I was born in the wrong time. They've always got an excuse, and the excuse is a guarantee for failure.
I see what you mean. So then, if I were to win in life, and I'm thinking about it in a spiritual sense of things. So spirituality is the way, because I'm trying to understand, how can people make these distinctions, man?
Can I answer that?
Yeah, please.
Okay, we are part of a divine. We are a divine being. Okay, we are an aspect of a divine. So when we own that, we connected, that how connected we are with whatever you call God or the Creator or the universe or whatever.
Christine, I would like you to say that and loud and very loud this time around because of what you said there. Yeah, it's something else. You're saying we are
We are part of the divine, or of creation of the universe.
We are part of it.
We are part of. We are part and parcel. It's whatever is out there is in us. So we are.
So the God that I'm praying in the universe and saying, "Hey, powerful God,"
when Jesus said, and it's within you. So what does that mean?
You.
It is you. If it is within you, it is you. It's beating your heart. It's breathing you when you're sleeping. So when you connect with that, well, then everything is possible.
What can we not do?
And that's what can you do, exactly. So when I teach Reiki, I said, we have all the magic, all the miracles within us, if we would get out of our own way.
Wow, because when you say we are part of it.
We are it. We are an aspect of it.
Because I'm trying to imagine how will that transform my life once I believe it?
Once you know it.
Oh, no, it okay.
No, stop believing it.
Believe, we all believe. Everybody says, "Oh, I believe, that's why I believe in God, I go to church." But then I go home and I can't sleep at night because I worry. I said, if your God is a benevolent, loving God, what have you got to worry about? Go to sleep, things will be taken care of. It's, this is belief. Knowing is a different story. When you know, then you sleep quietly, you sleep easy on your pillow.
You don't even worry. Yeah.
You don't worry. Yeah.
All right, come back to all the religions say we made in the image of God.
Yes.
Science is now telling us we are a holographic piece of the universe. Okay? The fact that we are a holographic piece of the universe, they're saying exactly the same thing. They're just using different words to say it. All right? The fact that we are a holographic piece of the universe means that everything the universe can do, every possibility of the universe is a possibility of us. And it's limited only by our own use of our imagination. If we can conceive it in our imagination, even if it never existed before, it's the universe's way of saying, remember.
I see what you mean.
You need to go out there and do this thing now. And that's what Christine's talking about. She's saying that every cell in your body is part of you. Your kidney is not a kidney that you bought at Pick and Pay. All right, it is part of you. And it does what you tell it to do. Epigenetics, the word epi means above. Genetics is the control of your body. All right, yes. And the modern science of epigenetics, which I've been teaching by accident for almost 50 years, because the name hadn't been invented yet. All right, but I had an infinity with who I was. I had polio as a little boy and all kinds of things, and I fixed it because I heard the doctor say that I would lie on my back for the rest of my life, and I was 10 years of age. And 3 weeks down the line, I had a spontaneous miracle cure.
Wow.
That the doctor couldn't explain. He said it was spontaneous remission, though I look like I'm a cripple.
And your body just fixed itself?
Yes, I fixed myself. I just changed my mind. And what I'm getting to is because I changed my mind, every cell in my body got a message that they needed to make a different body for me. So my genes started to play with my DNA, because genes are only computer programs. My genes started to play with my DNA and take away the defect that enabled the polio to form, and my body miraculously healed. I can carry on. When I was 50, I had a massive heart attack, and they told me I'd live as a cripple for the rest of my life because I had less than 40% heart function. I said to the cardiologist, I will regrow my heart. And he laughed at me. He said, he's the cardiologist, I'm the idiot who had the heart attack.
Yeah.
Okay, and I must understand, hearts don't regrow. I said, I will regrow my heart. 2 years down the line on his machines, I had perfectly normal heart function. I said to him, please explain.
How did that happen?
Yeah, I said, please explain. He says, it's the pills you're taking. I said, don't write that script. I'm not going to take another pill in my life. He says, you will be dead in 2 weeks. I said, for 2 weeks, I'm going to have a party. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to live like it's my last possible moment.
Yeah.
Well, that was 23 years ago.
You're still waiting for the 2 days.
And I'm still waiting for that time to come. People, please listen to me. The doctor's not always right. There's a place for them, but they're not always right. Okay, now what Christine is talking about is that thing is a default mechanism in us. Every cell in my body, every time I think, every cell in my body says, okay, can I help make that come true? And if the answer is yes, they go to work immediately. If the answer is no, they commit suicide. The cell does. Goes back into the recycle bin of energy and gets reborn as a new cell. Our cells change all the time. The cells in our mouth change every couple of hours. Cells in our skeleton take about 2 years to change. All right. But you haven't got one piece of your body that you had 2 years ago.
Yeah. Like
okay, you're a new person now.
But because our thinking pattern keeps repeating itself, so we recreate the same body.
What are you telling me?
Yes,
okay, so I am this way because of my.
Because you remember being this way.
Yes, I don't know how to be anything else.
Yes.
Yet.
Yeah.
Because, but if you can imagine being something else and stay focused on your new vision, every cell in your body will work towards the new vision. Now that is epigenetics and neuroplasticity.
Yes.
Okay, that's how that all comes together. And it comes together, for years people have said to me, describe what you do for a living. Eventually I've got to the point of saying I'm a healer. And they say, oh, another one. Okay, I heal perceptions. If you have a perception of poverty, you can change it to a perception of abundance.
Yes.
If you have a perception of uselessness or sickness, you can change it to a perception of anything you want it to be.
Yes.
And we have that free choice. We have that freedom.
Yes. No, thank you so much, Dave, for that. I remember you saying that. You said when you have given up on life, your mind and your body will find a way to get you there. To get your body to actually switch off.
Yeah.
And then you were like, all death is voluntary. I'm like, no, it's not. And then we're like, no, it is. And then you were like, there are two ways you die. One is that it's when you have given up on your mission, or one is when you have completed it.
That's right.
That blew my mind, right? Before we go, because we are left with about 4 minutes actually. So one is that, what do you really mean by that? What do you really mean by that? I know it sounds very simplistic, but what do you really mean by that?
All right. Well, we have been made to believe that suicide is an evil thing. But suicide actually means that we chose our death. We chose it and willingly participated in our death. Now, we all are willingly choosing and willingly participating in our death. Even if two people are driving at 140 kilometers an hour on the freeway towards each other like this, people say that's an accident. Accidents don't happen in a universe. Otherwise, planets would be bumping into each other. We both deliberately chose unconsciously to be on exactly the same trajectory towards each other. We had a pact mentally that we were going to take each other out on the freeway tonight because for whatever reason, life like we were living on the planet changes. You look around here, we have no burglar guards, we have no electric fences, we have nothing. I'm 75 years old, I'm a farmer in South Africa. I'm supposed to be in mortal danger.
Yeah. But the opposite is actually
all right, but Christine and I are safe people.
Yeah.
Because we know how we fit into the world.
Yeah.
Right. And nothing deters that. Okay.
I love that.
And everyone is potentially safe. But when you say goodnight to a person when they've had dinner with you or whatever and they're going home, you say drive safely or enjoy the trip.
we normally like to say safe, very safe.
Yeah. Why?
Because
We are planting the seed
of danger.
that there is a danger out there,
there
that
would
there's
be, yeah.
something to be afraid of out there.
Wow.
Instead of enjoy the trip home, enjoy the night dreaming about things you've never done before.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
We are geared to
Good
keep
thing.
putting the what might go wrong
Yeah.
in the front of the wish list.
Wow. Well, thank you, David, and thank you, Christine, for for this time. It was, I don't know how to explain it. You know, like every time when I speak to both of you, it's like I'm speaking to you like for the first time. You know, as if this information is new to me. It's like it hits different parts of my being all the time, so to say. And then thank you for your time. And then guys, keep those comments coming, keep those questions coming. We are here for you even after this this segment, after this live. We will definitely be attending your questions to make sure that we answer you. And I'll personally ask Dave, and then if there's some questions that I'm unable to answer, I'll personally go to ask David about them, so that he can help you guys go through them. So you heard Christine on how to get hold of both him and her and David. But in closing, Christine, one last time, what is the website again?
growthpoint.org, or they can email info@growthpoint.org.
info@growthpoint.org. That's why they can find you. And I believe your name on Facebook is Christine
Rondabel.
Okay.
Christine Rondabel Wyllie. Yeah.
And then I know Dave's one is David
Pickard Wyllie.
Pickard Wyllie.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This is me, MT Tabane, the Seed of Hope. Today you got a glimpse and a taste of what will this show bring to you. And then please, if you have comments or you feel like you want David back, I don't know, I can't promise anything, but please send those feedbacks. And then thank you so much. From me to you, stay blessed. Thank you.